Hello and welcome back to another episode of Life's Black Belts. Once again, I'm your host, Eric Alders, and I apologize for the hiatus, but I'm happy to be back recording some weekly episodes. And today, I'm very honored to be presenting our newest Life's Black Belt guest. Her name is Rachel Smets, and I'm just going to go through a little bit of an introduction so you know who she is before we get started. Rachel is a best-selling author of a book called Living Abroad Successfully: What, Where, When, and How. She's a 2-time TEDx speaker, professor and cultural trainer, and most of all, an expat coach, which I didn't know what it was until I started speaking with her. That's someone that helps people settle abroad easily. And she helps to take people's overwhelming feelings away from when they're planning and looking to settle at a new country abroad. And she loves to inspire people and help them become their best selves. So I thought she was a perfect fit for the show. So let's welcome our today's Life's Black Belt guest, Rachel Smets. Rachel, how are you today?
I'm really good. Thank you for the lovely introduction, Eric. Great. Yeah, I'm really good. Happy to be here.
I'm happy to have met you briefly over the phone. We had a few minutes just to catch up on a little bit of your story, and I think it fits in really well with the show. And one thing I found interesting, even in exploring your website and all, is unlike in America where we don't speak a lot of languages, you living abroad and being born abroad, you speak 6 different languages, which I find absolutely intriguing, and I'm sure has opened up your ability to travel even more. So first of all, where are you right now that I'm speaking to you?
Yeah, I'm right now in the Netherlands, in Europe.
Okay.
And that's where I am. I've been living in about 7 or 8 different countries, and the languages didn't come through that. It's also a passion of mine. I was raised bilingual, French and Dutch, Belgian actually, and so 2 languages as a child, and then very, very soon I learned, I had an American friend, so I learned my English when I was still a child. And then, I got the bugs of, wanting to move abroad and move to another country. And my first country was Spain. I'm not going to go into every country, but, and then I thought, okay, you know what, let me just start with the basics of Spain and, Spanish, and then go from there. And then once you're there, of course, you perfect your language. But it is something that I find super important because it gives you good connection with the cultures when you're abroad. And I find it really important because still there are so many people thinking, oh, everyone speaks English, right? Well, no, it's not the case. So, and it really helps you to meet people, to connect with the locals. And you don't have to be fluent or perfect, but at least, know some basics. And it just opens up, yes, it does give me a lot more conversations and meeting people and advantages. So I definitely advise it if you go abroad to learn some basics of the language.
Well, I think that your story and your experiences of traveling all over the world are things that a lot of people dream of. And I was even listening to one of your TEDx talks where you were speaking about discussing with one of your friends who you had felt at the time you might have been missing out certain things in life, not experiencing, family and children or and so on. And your friend was looking at you, grass is greener on the other side.
Yeah.
So, I mean, let's just take a quick, brief step back before we get into what you're doing now, which is super exciting.
Yeah.
Where you started out your life in Belgium, what was life? Because again, I've only lived in America, so I'm intrigued by meeting people from other countries. What was life like for you growing up there?
It was good. I had a good childhood. Everything was fine, really. And it's, my parents are still living there. I lived in a beautiful town. I was working. I was even married at the time when I was, my early 20s. And, the life as, the regular boring kind of lifestyle, that you're maybe supposed to live. Financial security, good jobs. And there I was. And I just didn't feel completely satisfied. And I had a lot of contacts and conversations with people that were expats, which are people, expats can have a lot of definition, but let's just say people that are working and living abroad. And so I got intrigued. I thought, gee, I want to experience that. I want to know what it is like to live in another country. I mean, here I am, and my family never moved. And I'm like, I still wonder, like, why am I getting that travel bug? Whereas, my brother is just in the same town as my parents, and my parents never moved anywhere, and they don't even like traveling. So, where is this coming from? But I got this I want to learn. I want to learn all the time. I want to learn from other countries and other cultures. And there's one thing that kept me going all this time and still today. It's that thought in my head. I don't want to grow old thinking, what if I had done it? I don't want that. I want to grow old and say, yeah, I've done that and I've tried that and I've done that. Is it always successful? No, but at least I try. And is it always easy? No way, okay? Because I like what you said. A lot of people dream about it. Like me, I have always dreams. I wanted to go abroad. Is it easy? No. People look at me like, oh, you're so lucky. You're going, in different countries. Lucky? No. I mean, I have to put in effort and time and research and plan, and I need income as well. I need a job as well. It's like there's so many things, and that's why I wrote the book, and that's why I talk about in my TEDx talks. Like, don't think it's all rosy. There is if you want to achieve something, Eric, out of all people, if you want to achieve a black belt, and I've done martial arts as well, whatever it is, in sports, in life, in anything, you have to put in the effort. So I want to make that very clear. Is it great? Yes. Is it an amazing experience? Yes. Am I learning a lot in every country? Yes. Can I recommend it? Yes. Can I help you? Yes. But is it easy? It takes effort. Okay. So I just want to make that really clear.
Well, I think anything worthwhile in life takes effort. And, you mentioned martial arts. We have that connection as well. But I mean, doing what you do, or anyone trying something new, I think what holds people back a lot, even starting martial arts, for example, is the fear of the unknown, not knowing if they're going to be good, not knowing if people are going to judge them, standing out front. I think a lot of us just want to be able to fit in and be accepted by those of us that we surround ourselves by. And the fear of the unknown holds us back a lot. And of course, it was a dream of mine to open up, my own school. And I had all those human reactions of fear and what if I fail? And then you start to learn, like, you're better off to have, tried and failed than not to have tried at all. And that's kind of exactly, we're on the exact same page there. So when you're speaking to people, how do you try to help them get over that, to learn to feel comfortable being uncomfortable?
That's a great question. And it's true. Fear of the unknown, especially when you go to another country, that's really unknown. You arrive in a new country, you don't know anything. You don't know anyone. I'm single, okay? I used to be married, but I'm single. So I like to help people that are single as well, because that's, you don't have anyone around you. If you go as a couple, sometimes, you can still decide on things together. As a single woman, it is still, you have to make a lot of decisions, and everything is unknown. So how do you overcome that? Like anything in life, you overcome it by doing. By taking action. There's this quote from Dale Carnegie that I really love. And he's like, you have to get your body moving and you have to get your blood pumping. And we actually create worries in our thoughts. Okay. So that's where it all starts. That's why I can write a book and talk about that for forever. But every fear starts in our thoughts, which is normal, okay? Don't think you're abnormal. We have 80,000 thoughts in a day. So that's really completely normal to have a lot of thoughts. However, the worries that we create are stories in our mind. It's just a story that you create. Sometimes you feel like really upset about something, like, oh, he's not showing up and he's probably doesn't like me, and he, and I did something wrong and whatnot. It's a story. Whereas this person might be stuck in traffic, or might just became ill or sick or something. It's just, we don't know. We just create these stories. So it's the same thing with worries. And if you start wondering, that's what Dale Carnegie said. If you start wondering in your head, am I happy? Am I not happy? Is there any fear? If you even start thinking about that question, like, am I really satisfied? Am I happy? Am I worried? You will always find something to be fearful for. You will always find something to worry about. So to get all of those thoughts away of your mind, just get busy, get active, do something. So when it comes to the fear of martial arts, the fear of changing careers, the fear of moving abroad, it doesn't matter. You have to take small steps, but at least take some action. And I keep saying, I never jumped from a cliff. I will never say, oh, go ahead, follow your dream, follow your heart. You know what, people can say that, just go for it. No, I say, do your research, take small steps. You don't just run a marathon. No, you start with a mile and 5 miles and 10 miles. You take all these small steps. I've written books. I don't just write a book or publish a book. No, I thought, how can I do this? By writing a paragraph and another and another. Mm-hmm. Same thing with going abroad. And then when it comes to the fear again, there's one thing I love, and it's all about the comfort zone, right? And we all know the saying, if you always do what you always done, you'll get what you always got, right? So if you want some change in your life, you got to step out of that circle, out of your comfort zone. And remember this one really important thing. Comfort is the enemy of change.
Absolutely.
If you want to feel comfortable, you will not change anything. If you step out of that comfort zone, that's where change can start. It doesn't have to be big, but at least something. So fear, overcoming fear. I mean, I've had loads of fears, loads. I was super shy as a child. I was like hardly speaking. My parents were like, come on, Rachel, say hello to this lady or say this or say. I didn't even, and here I am. I'm a speaker. I'm a TEDx speaker. It's just, why? Because I overcame all these fears. How? By taking some steps, by taking some action. You're afraid of airplanes. How do people overcome it? By flying, right. By taking, you're afraid of an elevator. You're never going to overcome it by thinking and staring at the elevator thinking, I'm scared of it. You've got to step into it at one point. It's just a choice. Do you want to stay the same and do the same the rest of your life? Or do you want to achieve something? Then you got to try and do something. Wow. And are you going to make mistakes? Yeah, please do make mistakes, because mistakes are part of it. Failures are part of it, which is another big chapter I can talk about. Failure is feedback. It's such a great lesson to just fall flat on the ground and learn from it. You're never going to learn if you never fail.
Absolutely. Well, I think one thing that you bring up there is that innately as humans, I think we take a look at people that have achieved levels of expertise or success in their fields, and they see the end result. And the end result to them seems so far away. And then, it's going to take me years to do that, or I'll never be able to do that. They're not seeing the work, the struggle, the failure, the picking yourself back up time and time again to get to that point. And we get caught up in our head a lot, and we create these stories like you talk about. I'm a big fan of Eckhart Tolle and learning how to live in the moment. So when your mind goes in a million directions, just try to find something right in front of you to appreciate. Because often the things we're worrying about aren't happening at the exact moment to us. It's something that's happened in the past, something we're worried about in the future, and we waste time on not really enjoying the present moment. And I think that's what you bring up. And then just to add to that, what you talked about, same thing with martial arts, how I think that relates to life. You need to take one step at a time. You need to learn to be uncomfortable, because you're going to consistently fail and be put in uncomfortable situations. And I think eventually that breaks you down, and you learn to be okay with that. And I think it relates to life as well. Whatever you want to take on, career or traveling abroad, you have to just take that step forward and just start taking one day at a time. Get up, force yourself to try something new, and don't be afraid of failure. It's a different feeling. It doesn't mean it's a bad feeling, but it's something that can motivate people like you and I and many other people as well. But you mentioned something as a child that you were very shy, and now you seemed like a sponge. All you want to do is learn and grow and travel. As a child in school, were you that inquisitive as well, or did that come later in life?
No, I always like to learn. Yeah, as a child as well. I always like to learn. And I will for the rest of my life. I always like to be in books and read and things like that. So that's definitely, the learning thing is something, that's in me. The shyness is definitely something I overcame by, to be honest, the very first step to get out of my shyness was martial arts. When I was 13 or 14, I started with karate. And then, I think that was definitely something that got me, my first step out of shyness. But, later on as a young adult, it's definitely the moving abroad, like taking the step to move away from that security, that little comfort zone, and step away from that, and taking small steps from that. And while you were talking, I was writing down a few words because I wanted to comment. And that is, like you say, being also reading a lot of books like Eckhart Tolle and all of those, and Deepak Chopra and all of that. It's also something that I learned, okay, because my family was rather negative and critical and more like, all the things that go wrong instead of all the things that go well. So I kind of had to educate myself and read all these books and live in the now. And even that, I know a lot of people say, yeah, that sounds, it's woo woo, or it sounds easy, but it's not. And that's true. It takes practice as well. I'm sure you know that as well. It's just being in the now and living in the now, and trying to get rid of those thoughts. It's not that easy, and it all starts with being aware that you have these stories in your mind, being aware of that, and then you can say, okay, and now I need to focus on the present moment. And the easiest way to do that for me, it's like, okay, hold on, what am I doing right now? I'm breathing. Mm-hmm. And you just take a breath, and that just puts you right back into the now. So that's one thing. Is it easy to do? No, it takes practice as well, because you and I may be, doing that on a regular basis, but you have to practice that as well. I had to learn that as well. Then you said something very important as well, is you look at others, and that's what a lot of people do. You look at others that have achieved a lot, and you think, oh, they're so lucky, and they have it all, and they're so successful, and I can't do it. But they had to go through the same thing. I wrote another book, which is Awaken Your Confidence, where I explain and where I watch and learn from other people being successful, and they all admitted it took us years, it took us effort, it took us a lot, to learn and to grow and to fall back and to fail and to make mistakes. And, so everyone out there that you think has it all, they had to go through it. So there's only one way to get there. It's, but what I want to say with this, the message I really want people to get is, you can look at others. It's good to look at other people achieving success and achieving things that maybe you want. But instead of looking at others, feeling envious or jealous and thinking, they're so, they have it all and I have nothing. Instead of doing that, try to be inspired by them and learn from them and say, like, I want that too. If they can do it, I can do it too. Who would have thought I would have published books or stand on a stage, being a shy little girl and then stand on the stage as a speaker. But I thought, you know what? If they can do it, I want to know it too. And I want to do it too.
Was there a significant moment in your life where this change started? You said one day you were sitting around and you felt like you really had to get out there and experience something new. Is that a day you just woke up, or was something? Sometimes, often these big changes in our life are triggered by life events, whether it's a major family event, a passing, a change in career. Did anything give you the catalyst to make this change, or where did that come from?
Actually, no. When I think back, my first move, like I said, I was more and more in contact with people that are living and working abroad, and that were living and working abroad. And I got inspired, and I wanted to do that. And I started taking these small steps. I never knew exactly what I was going to do. And, but I took I started talking more to those kind of people. And I started like, hey, what do you do? And how did you get the job? And, and I started getting information and kind of doing some research. And that very first time I moved abroad, I'm going to be honest, it took a year before I really made the step of literally taking the plane and moving abroad. So that was the first time. Now it goes much easier, but yeah, it took time. That's why I say, and when I make a decision like that, it's not an easy one. So you want to take that time, and you want to make sure, and you want to do the right research and think about a lot of things. And that's what I want to help people with, because there's still people thinking, oh, living abroad, it's like a holiday. You pack your bags and you go. And then there's a lot of regrets and homesickness, which is not necessary.
Well, I would imagine that when a lot of people want to do a life change as big as leaving your homeland and moving abroad, which I think you had mentioned you had done by yourself. Mm-hmm. Sometimes when we make changes like this in our life, the people that we love and that surround us, our family and our friends, sometimes are the little, voices inside of our head that are either motivating us and supporting us, but often sometimes people will, you can't do that. Have you thought it through? Or maybe in your case, you're by yourself, or maybe your father came to you, you're a single woman and you're going to leave to another country by yourself. I mean, I have twin daughters. I'm just putting myself in his point of view, like, oh, hey, Dad, I'm going to move to Spain. What? You know what I mean? By yourself? Like, how are you going to do that? Did the people around you completely support you, or did you have to overcome that? Because I imagine that some people may feel held back by the people around them, either supporting them or trying to pull them back from that change.
That is such an important point. Okay, and I want to talk about that. And I want to call it the topic of choosing your tribe, because I talk about it a lot. I even just recently wrote a whole blog post about it. It is so, so, so important. And I had to learn to build my tribe, because unlike what you think, my parents and my family were so not supportive. They thought I was crazy. Like, what are you going to do? I mean, financial security, everything's nice. You have a house, a home. You're with us or your family. You know, they did not get it at all. I was stupid. I was crazy. They hardly, it's almost like I stepped out of the family, you know, by making a decision like that. So that was really, really hard. And those are the people that, you know, did not motivate me. And I mean, I love them. Okay. Don't get me wrong. And they love me, but those are the people that don't motivate you, because, you know, they're scared and they make you scared, you know, and they ask all these questions and they make you doubt, and they make it so much harder to make a decision. So I try through the years to select my tribe and to find the people that are supportive and that are motivating you. And no matter, you know, it doesn't have to be about moving abroad, but when it comes to a career change or a job or something you want to learn or grow, surround yourself by people that support you, and not those people that ask you a ton of questions and that make you doubt. And it's not easy, okay? Because it is through living abroad, though, that I've met a lot of people that were so-called friends, and then they disappear from your life, or that you put in your trust and then you get, you know, really, really disappointed. So I learned a lot about people skills and kind of that gut feeling, like, yeah, this is a person I want to stick to, and this not. And the so-called friends that, oh, you didn't call me last week. Well, I don't know, but those are not, you know, those are not the people that belong to my tribe. The people that belong to my tribe are the ones that, even if I don't call you for 6 months, the door is still open.
Absolutely.
And they just get it. They get who you are. They just want you to succeed. They want to, you know, they're there for you when you need them. And yeah, and a lot of times it's not family that are the best supportive tribe, but it is really, really important. So for me, it was, going back to those books, you know, those books that motivated me, that gave me that positive energy, that tried to seek the positive in life, to be present in the moment. And those are the things that really helped me in my first years. And now it's really, you know, having a tribe around me that is totally not in the same country. I'm really, really good. I don't need a lot of friends, and the tribe doesn't have to be big, but I have a few people that I can just instantly call or message, or, you know, and it's borderless, you know, it doesn't have to be in a specific country. It can be anywhere in the world. But it's really important to find those people that, yeah, that push you, you know, and that believe in you. It is so important. It's so important. And this also means, and that's the last thing I want to say about it, that you have to drop some people, and that you have to say no to some people. And that's not easy. And there's going to be people disappointed. But if you want to succeed in one direction, there's people, you know, that you just have to make a choice. Like, hey, you guys, you don't believe in me, you don't support me, then I don't hang with you anymore, because it's not going to make you grow.
Well, I think it's an important thing to realize, and it's something I've also learned as I matured. I remember as a young boy, my dad asked me how many friends I had. I was like, I have hundreds of friends. He's like, no, you don't. If you're able to count the friends in your life on one hand, consider yourself blessed. You'll learn that there's acquaintances in your life. There's people that like to socialize with you, but the people that are there for you, like you talked about, day in and day out, when you're sick, when life's pulling you down and it's not convenient for them and it's difficult for them to be your friend, and they're still there. Or like you mentioned, you could not see each other for a year, sit down, have a conversation, and it's like a day hasn't passed. And I've learned over time to do that. And the other hard part, like you mentioned, sometimes you do have to for, it sounds a little crude, but like you have to cut some dead weight from your life sometimes. If
Yeah.
people aren't adding to the positivity of your life and they're pulling you
Yeah.
down, it's very challenging. But some of us try to aim to please everyone around us, and that usually leads to a life of misery. I know you kind of mentioned that, but it's often when you say, like, if you're always following someone else's footsteps, you only end up where they want to go. You know what I mean? So.
Oh, can I say something about that?
Oh,
Yeah,
please, absolutely.
it's really important, and maybe it sounds selfish, but then heck what? I mean, you got to think about your own life, right? And you got to think about, self-care. It's self-care. It's like, hey, who you want to be. And there's one thing that pops in my mind is, I always like the image, like, okay, let's say you're 90 years old and you're looking back at your life. Whose life are you going to look back upon? Yours or someone else's?
Mm.
So live your life.
100%. So I have to ask you, though, those first couple of experiences. Now, one thing I think you bring up is that you actually do the research. You don't just jump in, because I would imagine one challenge and my fears or my thoughts or my curiosity would be from how is their culture set up? What rules do they follow? What customs do they have that might be, where I come from might be acceptable, normal, but if I go there, I actually might insult people. And,
Yeah.
Even basic little things you don't think about, from what side of the road you drive on, or, just understanding their day-to-day life. You at least do some research to fit in. But when you get there that first time, if you could take me back, that first big step, and you end up there, are you immediately like, yes, this is where I'm meant to be? Or are you having those first couple of nights like, what did I do?
The second.
Okay.
always, no matter where I land, it's always like the first days, it's like, whew, yeah, you don't know, you literally don't know anything and anyone. So it's always like, okay, yeah, let's see. And then, yeah, it's weird. It's really strange. And then it comes, yeah, and then you have to take the first steps, like, okay, first, venture out, find a supermarket. The very first challenge is always like, okay, I need food. Okay, I need to find a supermarket. Okay, what? And then you come into a supermarket and you don't recognize any of the foods. Well, it depends which country, but still, I mean, milk. Just milk. Like, oh, is it the red carton or the white or the blue, and what's skimmed or what's not? All these simple things that you just do on a daily basis in your normal home just suddenly change. So, and the road signs and like you say, left or right, so yeah, so I am passionate about cultural differences. It is what I teach. So I have done a lot of studies on cultural differences. So by now, that's also how I help people, like, oh, wait a minute. If you go to India, people are much more group oriented. People are not punctual at all. If, you go to the States or Western Europe, people are very, to the schedule and meetings and appointments, and, 8 o'clock is 8 o'clock. Like, we had a meeting now, it's, it's done. Doing the same in India or in Asia, it would be, well, around, time is just more flexible. It's more important to be in a group rather than individualistic. And I can go on and on, but it's and the biggest difference is also very frustrating, where we say things as they are. We're very linear, very direct. In Asia, people like harmony. They don't always tell the truth because they don't want to hurt your feelings. So let's say I say, well, Eric, can you get it done by Saturday? If you can't, you will just tell me, well, no, Rachel, I can't do it Saturday. Let's do it another date. In India or China, they will say, well, yes, ma'am. Yeah, I can do it. They will always say yes, but yes has 5 different meanings. Yes can mean, yes, I can do it, or yes, I will try to do it, or maybe, or actually no, but I'll do my best. But these are the cultural things, typical cultural things, that if you are not aware of that, you'll be in a big cultural shock. And that's just one of the things. And then comes, but there's many of these things.
So let me ask you a question, especially for me, being born in the United States. I've only really had a chance to travel to Canada, Jamaica. I haven't really been to Europe, which is a dream, because a lot of my heritage is actually in the Netherlands and all that whole area as well. So I'd love to explore that. But for people from the United States, which you said you've been to and you've studied in, how would you compare the culture of the United States, which is a lot of people that I'm around is their only experience? I find that people abroad seem to travel a lot more to other countries than we do. What do you find is the main cultural differences between the U.S. and some of the countries that you've either lived in or traveled to?
Okay. Yeah. Whew. The U.S. Let's see. Americans are also very individualistic, and also time is money. So individualistic means that you want to achieve, you want to have success as one person. As a child, you raise your child to be independent, to take responsibility, to be successful in their own way, and be their own person and make their own choices and make their own decisions. Whereas in countries like Asia, it's more you don't make a decision on your own. You always make a decision together with your family, or you ask approval. So that would be one big thing. Punctuality is, again, schedules and meetings and being on time can be much more flexible. And not just Asia, but also Southern Europe, for example, Spain, South Italy, Portugal. I'm not saying in business, okay? In business meetings, globally speaking, if you have a meeting, you have a meeting at a certain time. But through friends and things, it's time is more flexible, and it's more important to be with people. Let's say you just had you were talking to some friends, and you had a meeting with another friend, and you came like half an hour late. That's acceptable, because you had a conversation, and the conversation with a friend is more important than getting on time and being punctual. In Spain as well, if there's one country I learned patience, it would be Spain. We're in America, you're used like, okay, you need paperwork done, you need administration done, you know exactly what to do, and it will be done. In Spain, it's like you have an appointment, you have to wait for hours at the coming hall to get your registration, your paperwork, and then if it's not today, it's mañana, right? It's tomorrow. And so people are more laid back. People take more time. People are, the siesta. What else? Food, I guess. Smaller portions, I would say, than in the States. Very easy to find very healthy food in a lot of European countries. Vegan, vegetarian, smoothies, juices, vegetables. You will find that much easier than you would find a fast food chain. Distances, you get in the whole of Europe, no matter where you are. I'm close to a beach right now, or at least you drive for 1 hour and you're in a totally new surrounding, or even in a new country. Whereas in the States, you can drive hours and hours and hours, before you get somewhere, and that somewhere is maybe very similar to where you came from. In Europe, you have mountains, you have beaches, and all within 1, maximum 2 hours of driving. Cities, that's another big difference. The look, like historical towns, historical cities, historical buildings from 100 years or plus. You see that a lot here. You don't really see that in the States.
Just speaking to you, I could feel the passion and almost like in your eyes the excitement of everything you're going to see, because I love history, and that's one reason I want to go to Europe. But to even hear you talk, you just hear the excitement of all these new things that you're able to discover, which brings me to the next question, is that you started off as a woman that wanted to go and have this experience and fought your family on it. When do you transition from just doing it because it's something you want to pursue to saying, I need to teach other people how to do this. I want to be an author, a motivational speaker. Why transition to that life coach type of status with this than just enjoy it yourself? Why take that next step?
Yeah, that's a really good question, Eric. I like that question a lot. And it makes me think as well. It kind of comes naturally because of my passion, I talk about it all the time. And of course, it wouldn't have happened if I would only be in one different country, because, I've been doing it for many years now. And I get a lot of questions, and so people start asking me questions, and I start explaining things, and then, oh, and how do you do it, and what should I do, and how can I plan this, and what research, and then you kind of feel like, hey, wait a minute, I have a lot to share here, and then people ask more, and then I started 2 years ago teaching at university. And I started really focusing and deepening in the cultural differences. And then I started being asked for doing workshops and trainings, even webinars online to a company in India who is working with Dutch people, completely different cultures. So how do they deal with that? So I started, rolling into naturally in the teaching sphere. And I because I was in the corporate world for a long time, for several years at least. And I thought, wait, I love teaching. I love helping people and seeing people learn something and seeing people grow and seeing people step out of their comfort zone and then be happy. I could not be happier. That fulfills me completely. So I kind of found out like, hey, this is my thing. This is what I'm here for on earth. I want to inspire people. I want to motivate people. And it really makes me happy, makes them happy, win-win. And so, and then I started, okay, yeah, living abroad, yeah, that's what I should write about it. And then I wrote a book and I made a course. And now I'm up to a point where I really want to, because I still have a part-time job right now. And I'm really now at that point where I know exactly that I'm helping people and inspiring people for living abroad. But I can only do that if I keep traveling myself. And I say travel, but I mean staying abroad in a new country for a longer period. Okay, it's not taking my backpack and leaving and traveling again. No, I mean I'm not a traveler. I'm more of a stay in the country for some time and really explore and discover the culture. And so that's what I want to do. I want to go to more countries and while doing that, inspiring more people. So that's my next big goal and dream and scary step that I'm going to take, but because I am going to take it.
Well, what was it like for you, let's say, getting invited to do a TEDx talk? Here you were, again, traveling, you were in business, so you're still working with people individually or maybe even like little conference meetings. To do that and then to step in front of, even writing a book that's very private, and then people can contact you on social media, but you put yourself in front of hundreds of people. What was that like, stepping out onto the stage? Did it just start to flow in the first couple of minutes, or were you like, and then you just kind of got into your groove? How'd that feel?
Very scary, but it comes no matter what you do, no matter what you do, no matter what your step is. And for me, that was then, the standing on the stage. I couldn't have done it if I wouldn't be prepared. Okay, there's no way you can do a talk like that if you don't prepare. And I also coach people doing TEDx talks, and you have to rehearse, make sure you have a very high quality speech, make sure you have the script, and then practice, because you cannot stand. There's not one good speaker who just stands there and, no, you don't do that. You have it in your head, and so there's one thing I did do is the moment I stood on the stage, I took a deep breath. I really took a deep breath, and I was very consciously doing that because I thought, if I don't take a deep breath right now, I'm right here really to focus and to calm my nerves. And then it went well. It went well because twice, actually, I did twice, but because I rehearsed and I practiced. Yeah. And the research and the planning, and when no matter what your goal is in your dream, that's the thing. Prepare. I could not repeat that enough. Whatever your goal is, you have to prepare. Talk to people. Hey, how have you done it? That's also what I even did with TEDx. It's like, talk to people. I talk to people all the time. Ask them questions. Ask me questions. You learn by asking questions. You want to learn from other people. So that's how you prepare.
Right. Find the people that have achieved what you're looking to achieve, and don't reinvent the wheel. and
Yes.
try to, almost in a way have this apprentice type of relationship and learn from people in that experience. I think
Yes.
that's a great bit of advice. So I have another interesting question for you. When you're living in all these different countries, at what point do you find the bug come in that it's time to move on to a new spot? Is there a certain level of criteria that you have, like I have to discover culture, food, or whatever it may be, and then once you achieve that goal, it's time? Or is it just something you
Yeah.
feel, all right, I've completed my mission here, it's time to move on? Like, what's that process like for you?
Yeah, it's a very good question, and it's different every time. Because yeah, it's different every time. I was in France for a year, and I was actually working in a corporate job, and I was so stressed out. That's just one example. So stressed out by that job that I just was so fed up with the whole country. I just really wanted to move again. So that's one reason, and every time I can say a different reason. So that was like, France is a beautiful country. I had a beautiful, good job, but it was so exhausting, so stressful that I thought, no. So I applied for another one, and then, and then I moved to Germany. When I was in the UK, I don't know, I didn't get that. I was working there as well, and I was, with people, and everything is very punctual and very, English are they're politely nice, but I just didn't feel like a really friendly kind of connection or some reason. I just felt like, I don't know, yeah, didn't feel a good vibe. And so I started, having a lot of conversations on the phone with people from the Netherlands, and I don't know. I just thought, let's apply for a job in the Netherlands, and then and then I moved again. So now I've been in the Netherlands for a few years, and now the bug is really, really there. I really want to move because now it's just been a few years, and that's just too long. So that's another reason, So yeah, many different reasons. Life goes on, and I never plan like, oh, that's where a country where I'm going to stay exactly that amount of time. No, life. I just let it unfold.
So how do you decide where you go to from here? Do you have like a bucket list of countries that you haven't been to and dove into the culture? Or, what's the process in you selecting that next destination?
Well, finding this that is, yeah, that is very dependent on every person. Okay, so what I always say is, in the research process, before you make a decision of which destination, you have to know, who are you, what kind of person are you, what are your likes and dislikes. For me, I love a good climate. I love a good sun and warmth. I would never go to a cold climate, but again, it depends. Do you like cities? Do you like nature? Do you like, there's all of these things. And also, what are you going to do? So for me, for several times, I moved not for a country, but more like I applied for jobs in different countries. And I thought, wherever I have a good interview, that's what I'll take. And that's where, it took me. So that would be one thing. Now I'm also doing house sitting jobs. And in the summertime, I had 2 months, and I thought, okay, I'm going to apply for house sitting jobs, and let's see where it takes me. It took me to Switzerland. I would never choose Switzerland. It's a very expensive country. But I thought, you know what, let's try it. So I was there for a longer time. So it's really important to choose well. My very first move abroad, maybe I should explain that. Why did it take me a year? Because I had several job offers in completely different countries. I was in Curacao, Monaco in France, Spain, and one other, I can't remember. And I actually traveled to all of them. It's another advice I give, like, travel before you take the big decision and move. Travel to that specific country and take a look at that country with not eyes of a holiday, seeker, but more of, hey, how could I adjust here? How's the area? How's the neighborhood? How are the people? You gotta feel it, So yeah, there's really a lot of things depending on that. Do you move with a family? Do you move as a single one? There's lots of things to discuss and to think about, and before you make that decision.
So when you're helping to guide people, this sounds very detailed and individualized, where you have to almost do a personality profile on somebody to
Yeah,
figure out what they love, what their interests are, and then from there try to find the country that matches them.
yeah,
That's, I never really thought it got that deep, but when you
yeah, yeah,
mention it,
yeah,
it makes perfect sense.
yeah. It's important, very.
So now do you have a goal to do any new books or any new talks, or is your mission right now to continue just trying to help other people? Like, what is your goal from this point forward after having accomplished what you have so far?
Yeah, great question. Thank you. My next goal now is to quit my job, my paying job, and live from my laptop. So really focus on helping people online while I can be traveling. So I don't want to be location dependent. I want to be location independent from now on, and find other countries and keep inspiring people, making videos to inspire people, give tips, lots of tips like, hey, in this country, do this, in this country. So next week I'll be in Italy, and I'll just start creating videos and go from there and see. It's exciting. It's scary because I don't, I don't know how well it's going to go, or where, which other countries I'm going to get. But I want to do it. I don't want to grow old thinking, what if I had done it? I want to do it.
Well, I think the thing that stands out about you amongst many things is your not just your passion, but your openness to try all these new things, to consistently always keep feeling challenged and feeling that fear and not getting tired of it, but constantly you're just constantly in the search of bettering yourself and is discovering more. And I know we've mentioned it, I think, on the phone, but you've had, family or friends that have said, what about, finding that the love of your life or kids. And I remember you saying to me that, you're doing something for you right now. And if that enters your life, it'll be because it's the right time, the right place, and the right person. Is
Yeah.
that a common question that comes to you? And I don't know if it's specific as if it was a single man doing it versus a single woman, or if that's even relevant at all. But do you find that people are perplexed that you are totally happy and confident traveling the world by yourself when everyone else thinks that the right step to take is to try to, get a job, get married, have children, and, fold your laundry and etc. Is that something that comes up often? People are like, how do you do that?
Um, Actually, well, how do I do it? Yeah, the question comes up. But what you're talking about is like the surprise that that I'm that I'm 40 now and that I'm still traveling and that I have no kids and not married. That question, not really. And I'm gonna tell, and I know why. I think I know why, because I surround myself with people that are like-minded and that are also very inspiring and liking challenges and liking to move, and so I kind of, that's what I want to achieve, so I attract those kind of people in my life, and they're probably doing the same thing, so then the question doesn't really come up. So
That's an excellent answer. I think the thing that I was trying to lead towards there is that people should understand that happiness isn't always in these cultural, social norms that you're always brought up with. Like you said, your parents approach you and you have a nice house and you have a nice job and you have people that you know and support.
yeah.
Why do something different? But I think it's, for me, especially also as a father raising twin girls, my ultimate mission is not only for them to be happy and all that, but I want them to be able to live a happy, independent, a successful life without me. The ultimate goal of the parent is not to hold their hand the entire way, always be there to support them, obviously, but I want them to be able to approach life like you have, and to be able to see someone that's able to do that. Then I know my daughters can find success, whether it's with somebody or without someone, as long as they stay true to themselves and surround themselves, like you mentioned, with a really good supportive tribe. So I appreciate that feedback. As a dad of only 12-year-old girls, it's nice to see where it could lead to.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
So if there's anything that you'd like to mention as we wrap things up about how people could find you, or any bits of advice if people are interested after being inspired by listening to you or looking at your book or your TED Talks on traveling abroad, what bits of information would you like to leave people with?
Okay, great. First of all, ask me anything. If you have any questions about living abroad, or you're thinking about it, or you want to move, you can also find me. My website is very easily my name, Rachel Smets, SMETS.com. So rachelsmets.com. By the way, below the video or the podcast, you're going to put all my links so people can find me, Facebook, LinkedIn, all over. It's always Rachel Smets, my full name, so that's easy, not complicated. And yeah, my book Living Abroad Successfully, available on Amazon, my course as well. But and I have a freebie. I hope you're going to post that link as well.
Absolutely.
I do have a free course that is giving you more tips and tricks of, okay, what do you really need to think about when you want to move abroad? How can you plan? How can you make, do the right research? What are some things you need to think about? So you can just sign up for free and get that for free in your email box. And I'm creating a new course right now about settling in. So it's not just wanting to move abroad, but it's what I focus on is people really settling in, like avoiding that homesickness, avoiding being depressed, avoiding the big cultural shock. But within a very short amount of time, you can really be happy and feel at home. And it's that feeling you want. And there's still so many people that take months or even years, not knowing the language, not understanding the culture, being frustrated and or isolated because they don't feel at home. So I think, that should change. So I love helping people with that. I'm creating a course on that. And yeah, please follow me. I'd love, to grow my following and inspire more people. And I hope I did. And I'm very happy that I could share my story with you, Eric. Very, very happy. Very grateful. Thank you.
Absolutely. And I will be putting all of the links in the show notes. So if anyone didn't write that down, it'll all be detailed in the show notes, and I'll be posting it on social media as well. And I think that the conversation for me has been inspirational and again, whether it's living abroad, changing careers, or whatever, starting a new business, it all relates to doing something new. Settling in, like your new course that you're looking to develop, is something to realize that, there might be a moment where you feel out of sorts, and you might feel like maybe your decision was incorrect. But if you surround yourself by good people and stay motivated and make decisions that you're passionate about, you believe in, you can make a successful change and start a whole new life, whatever that means. And you should always pursue your true passions and try to help people that are around you. So sharing your story not only inspires me, but I think people will connect to that as well. And I hope they do follow you online, as I will. And see what's next for you. So without a doubt, one of the reasons I wanted to have you on, and this whole show is about not just, martial arts, which, the title sometimes throws people off, but black belts in life, people that do have these incremental moments of growth and change and dealing with all these different challenges. And I think you absolutely represent why I started the show. So I just wanted to thank you again for taking your time out of your schedule to come on. And I really appreciate sharing this conversation with you.
Super. Thank you. Thank you so much.
So ladies and gentlemen, again, today's Life's Black Belt, Rachel Smets. Thank you so much.